Welcome back, YouTube, and today we are talking once again about Kyle, about his ruby farming abilities. Now, I just wanted to make this video. It's not going to be too long because a lot of people are actually worried that he's going to end up dying in the comments. People were even saying I was rigging my ruby farming teams by putting attack fodder in the showcases, which I clearly wasn't. And I even mentioned that he might end up dying if you get unlucky with the fodder placements, but I'm going to show you guys why it's not really the biggest problem. Now, the biggest upside with Kyle is that he farms super fast, right? His skill 2 into his basic attack will then activate his passive, which hits everything. Then you skill 1, and then everything is pretty much dead. Now, if you compare it to Tio, what you'll have to do is skill 1, skill 2. You'll have to wait for this all damage nullification to tick down. And then after that, you'll be able to revive and then, use ability again. So Kyle, on average, when I've been testing, clears the nightmare stages 20 to 30 seconds faster than Tio, which is a big deal. And if you do that over like 100 runs, you're saving a ton of time and you can farm a lot faster. So for that reason, I personally think he's still a better farmer. It doesn't come with any downsides though, which I'll talk about. But if you look at this picture here, you're going to see that this is a run of Kyle. You'll see that he has 288 wins out of 300 with 12 losses. Now, this is in 17-1 Nightmare, and when Tio runs this as well, he loses about 8 to 9. Now, of course, Kyle might get sniped out some of the runs, but the biggest thing is if we actually look at the stage, you actually have to look at what you're fighting a lot of the times, and if you actually watch the runs, a lot of the times, some of these ads that you fight will have CC. So on round 2, which is the one you want to bring your Kyle because she has magic damage immunity, she actually has a paralysis. And you're going to see this paralysis hits all enemies and can paralyze you. So this is going to be the biggest source of your run failing. And no matter who you bring, no matter what character you use, you're going to see that you have a chance of losing on the ruby farming run. So even if the win rate looks not 100%ish, you have to realize whatever farmer you slot in here, it's going to be the same thing. And I actually did test out Tio, and Tio out of 100 runs is pretty much the same win rate, honestly. He only loses about maybe 1 less out of 100, which isn't a big deal, but the speed is a huge deal. Now, that's not to say Kyle is going to have the same win rate. Of course, he's going to lose more, and that's mostly because of this all damage nullification. But there's actually going to be a surprising thing that a lot of people don't know about that I want to show you. So, you know how earlier I was saying that people were saying, oh my god, this guy's slotting in attack fodder. How is he getting this damage nullification? So I was actually looking into it and I was like, yeah, that's actually a good question. Why are they getting so many attack fodder in for the for the fodder farming? So I looked at it and I was like, oh, well, if you actually look at the fodder, you're gonna see that most of them are actually attack characters. In fact, about 50%, actually I'd say even more than 50% are. So you're actually pretty likely to get the damage nullification buff, which is very interesting to me. I don't know if this was on purpose or anything, or if it was like an oversight, but you're going to see that a lot of the times you're going to end up with multiple attack fodder in your multiple teams, and you're going to actually get this buff, which is actually hilarious. So because of that, it actually makes him a lot safer than you actually think, and also will make it so that your team won't really ever be at risk of failing for the most part, unless Kyle randomly gets hit over and over at the start. And you also have to realize, Kyle, because he's a farmer, he's going to be decently tanky. You're going to see he's at 6,400 health, 1,000 defense, right? It's going to be pretty much the same thing for every other farming DPS, like Yunhi here, right? Tio's a little bit different because my gear on him is absolutely terrible. So you're going to see he's actually just randomly tanky here with this HP percent armor. But for Kyle, he's just going to have the same base stats as other, DPS characters. I also will say, from testing him, once you actually do put him on a legendary ring, which is what I recommend, usually you don't want farmers on this, like Yunhi's not on it because she wants damage. The thing with Kyle is he does so much damage that you don't need a damage ring, and if you actually end up putting him on one of these legendary rings, once you get one of course, you're going to find that he is going to pretty much never lose. And it doesn't really matter in the earlier stages, but once you get to the higher and higher stages of Nightmare, this is going to be an easy way to just make him even more consistent. And you're going to see, even if I do a run right now, which I'll show you, where he doesn't have an attack character, he's actually not going to really take that much damage. And the reason why is because he just does so much damage. So you can see, I go to my ruby farming team here and look, I didn't even set this up. it just has 4 attack fodder in each team, which is actually kind of crazy. And if I actually look at my bags, you can see how many look at all these attack fodder. I guess it's separated by class, but still, so many. Oh my, yeah, like look at this. So much attack fodder, right? So if I slot in just like another character, so we don't actually hit this requirement, you're gonna see that it's going to be exactly the same thing. So here we go. I'll show you guys the run, and you're gonna see that basically the Kyle team is not gonna really take that much damage. But this is like the run where a lot of people were wondering, you know, is he actually viable still as a farmer once you get to the higher stages? Because especially at the higher stages, the auto attacks from the monsters you fight do a lot of damage. Trust me, I've been testing it over so many runs, and it's so much faster. You get to get through your keys quicker and stuff like that, and not have to, you know, keep background battling over and over. But on top of that, it's just really safe. And once we kill, after I stop yapping here, you'll be able to see from the Kyle team that he is able to deal with these ads pretty easily. So here we go. And of course, even if I TO here, if the lead monster starts with like a paralyze, it's really bad. But you're gonna see with Kyle, he uses his skill. Look how much damage he does. Boom. So without the damage vulnerability, you can see if he doesn't get focused down in the back, which is very rare to happen, you pretty much never lose. And I still have my ring here, so my ring makes it super safe. So, you know, if you want to farm the later stages, I definitely recommend, you know, having that legendary ring on if you can afford it. And it'll just make it a lot more consistent. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that today because a lot of people were wondering about it. You know, is he a better farmer than the other ones? If you want to be super safe and you still have TO, you can just use TO, like it's fine. But in terms of like raw speed and just like efficiency, Kyle is just super fast at killing, and it's just way better for me. And honestly, if you actually put him on this legendary ring, you don't really notice a huge difference in the win rate for the most part. And yeah, I'd rather take like almost 20-30 seconds of faster clears every single run over just like, you know, having like a 0.51% win rate or something like that. So yeah, in terms of where he ranks in the farmers though, I still think, you know, the top 4 are undisputed with Tio, Kyle, Yunhi, and Clawhan. Honestly, I think Yunhi is still the best farmer if you can get her to T4 or T6 because she does so much damage and she's also very safe. But the ones after that, it's really a coin flip of what you want. Do you want, you know, a super safe one? You go Tio. Do you want to go like a super fast clearing one? Then you go Kyle, which is easy to build, easiest to build in terms of damage. Do you want to go like a, you know, between the middle of Tio and Kyle? Then Clawhan's really good. However, I will say getting into farming, Kyle is the easiest because he requires the least dupes and he also requires the least skill enhancements, as you saw with my last Ruby farming video with him. And he also requires the least amount of stats because his base damages and the fact that he ignores defense is just super OP, and his passive just makes him do so much damage. So yeah, just wanted to talk about that today. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.